You're listening to Talking Law. We're back with Despina Priala from boutique law firm Priala Legal. And if you've missed today's segment, or if more importantly, you want to check out those websites and phone numbers that we just mentioned in the previous segment, we post everything, or lovely Despina does, post everything to YouTube. So if you search Priala Legal, Priala, on YouTube, it will come up and all of those website links will be connected at the bottom of that video. So Priala Legal on YouTube. Now, this next segment, Despina, is for our business directors. The identification number. So some people might go, what is that? But the deadline is near. It's already creeping up. 31st of August is the deadline to get this identification number sorted. But Despina, can you give us a quick recap? What is the director's ID? Who needs it? Why is it so important?
I will, absolutely, because we've talked about this on the show before twice, and now the deadline's looming. And I'm sorry, I have to say it's not August. It's the 31st of October, but that's okay because it gives us more time.
Oh, well, how's that? I just scared everyone for no reason. Sorry, guys, no. October.
That's okay. So, but still we have time, but the deadline's looming. So this is about getting a director ID. So who needs a director and who doesn't need a director ID? And when do you need to apply? And what are the criminal offences, right? So we've got civil and criminal penalties here. So, so you need to listen up. Who needs a director ID? So if you're a director or alternate director of a company or registered Australian body or registered foreign company under the Corporations Act, you also have companies that are formed under the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Corporation Act as well. So we're talking about people who are directors, and let's go through the dates or are going to become directors. So let's make it clear. If on or before the 31st of October 2021, you became a director, okay, then you've got until the 30th of November 2022, actually, to get your ID.
Not August, guys, not August. November. Cool. Okay.
Yes. So if last year, prior to the end of October, you were already a director of a company, right? You're already a director and you haven't done your ID yet. That's okay because you've got until the end of November this year to get your director ID. Okay. And then we had some other dates that we advised of last year prior to these dates coming into force. So if you became a director between the 1st of November and the last year and the 4th of April this year, okay, then you had 28 days from the time you became a director to get your ID. And then after the 5th of April this year, you actually had to get your ID before you even became a director. And why am I mentioning these? Because the dates have come and gone for the last two categories. Because if you haven't actually got your ID yet, you better go get it because got some civil and criminal penalties that we're going to talk about. Okay, so this is really important in terms of a practical advice, because we've gone through the detail before, but we want to talk about some other things in relation to director ID. So say if you were a director before the 31st of October last year, and then you became a director of another company, right? You're going, oh, how does this apply to me? When am I supposed to get my ID? So if you were already a director prior to the 31st of October last year, and then you formed your companies after that, you've still got that deadline of the end of November this year. So you're safe. Okay. So even if you became a director of other companies after the 31st of October last year, but you were already a director before then, right? Yeah. You've still got this 30 November cutoff this year. So you're safe. So look, there are other practical things we need to be aware of. Yes, you can apply for an extension of time to get your director ID if you're having difficulty. Yes, you can do that, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get granted that extension. So really, really important to just go and get it done. If you don't apply for it on time, ASIC is responsible for enforcing the non-compliance, okay, and the powers given under the Corporations Act. And look, you've got some really nasty offences and nasty criminal penalties, and the maximum penalty, the criminal penalties, are $13,200. And at a civil level, the maximum penalty is 1.1 million. So, you know, it's really silly not to just go and apply for it because you know it's a requirement. So it's a really strict liability offence, and that's why it imposes these criminal penalties. So really, really important. So other things you need to be aware of. How do you actually do it? So I've actually gone online and got my director ID. So I'm all compliant. All right. If ASIC's listening out there, I've got my director ID. So how difficult was it? How easy was it? So I can attest to this. So let me tell you this, that once you actually go online, so if you just Google director ID, the website will come up, how to apply, and it takes you through all the steps, right? And it looks like it's relatively easy, and it is. However, you have to have all of your information with you at that time.
The documents prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So you actually have to have a mygov account set up. So if you don't already have that, okay, you need to download the app onto your laptop, and you need to actually set up your mygov account first. And then what happens is that account gets linked to your ATO information. So what I discovered through my process, it took actually a couple of hours, but that's not to scare people off. That's only because I did not have all the information that I should have had.
Yeah.
And the information I thought the ATO had, they did not have. So you try to go through these hoops, and you put this information in, you put that information in, it won't accept it because it's not exactly matching what the ATO has. So then you got to actually make sure that you're giving that information that matches up with the ATO, otherwise it won't be accepted. But all in all, once you get past that, it's really a 5-minute process, 5-10 minutes.
Amazing.
It's not that difficult. You've just got to have your mygov account set up. You've got to have your ID on hand. It's got to match up with what the ATO has. So really, really important. And look, some people might say out there, I don't even know how to set up my mygov account. Like, if that's the case, what do you do? So you can't just do nothing. Okay, so ASIC has put it out there, and it's on the website. If you cannot set your mygov ID account up, and you don't, for some reason, you don't have your ID documents, you got to ring the Australian Business Register Service. Okay, and that's 136250. Pretty easy, 136250. And you can't get out of it, right? So if you're saying, oh, it's all too hard, I can't get my mygov account, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't really have all my ID docs, I'm not sure, ring this number and sort it out before you get to the end of November, if you were already a director. And if you, by chance, have become a director without getting your ID this year, well, as I said, you better go get that director ID. Okay, so really important.
Because overall, this is for a positive change, really. We want to stamp out illegal phoenixing. We want to make sure people are who they are, businesses are operating under correct names and don't own any money. So this is all working towards a positive change, even if it does take you a couple of hours out of the day. And it also avoids, obviously, all those fines.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, on the website, they've already got things in place. ASIC's already saying, look, you can't do things like applying for multiple director IDs. So we've said before on the show, you apply for it once and it stays with you and you get your director ID. Don't start applying for multiple director IDs because you can actually get big fines or end up in prison. And you can't go around misrepresenting your director ID either to third parties. So once you get it, save it. Print it and save it on your laptop, or save it elsewhere in some security documents if you ever need to produce it, and give it to your accountant, and away you go.
There you go. Easy peasy. Thank you so much again, Despina. And if anyone does want to get in touch with you directly about anything we spoke about this morning or in previous shows, where can they go?
So they can phone the office 55291 294. They can email us at info@prialalegal.com.au. And of course, as you say, everything will be uploaded on YouTube this week with all the relevant links for everybody.
That's it. Just search Priala Legal, Priala, on YouTube. Thank you again, Despina. We'll talk to you next week.
See you then.
Bye.